Good morning and welcome back to Good News segment. As I promised, we got John J. So that's two J's, and when you put your initials up, it's JJ.
J squared.
J squared. Oh, there you go, J squared. Well, John, welcome on.
Well,
appreciate you.
Thanks for having us on this morning, Eddie.
Man,
I
I'll tell you, you guys are awesome over there. If you haven't been over there yet, you're missing out, folks. It's called Sporting Lifestyles. You've been there for a year, 2 years?
Nearly 3 years now.
And they've got just about everything you can imagine, but guess what? You got a new store coming.
That's right. It's if you got just a minute
Sure.
to tell you how we got here. John Tisdale started with an idea about 4 or 5 years ago, really, that Andalusia needed a nice facility for the outdoorsman, and he's been working toward that steadily. We started with the small facility that we've outgrown over here at 600 Westgate Plaza across from McDonald's. We started filling it with fishing gear and clothing and that kind of thing, and over time we've grown to where we think we're a very complete saltwater and freshwater fishing center.
Absolutely.
We carry an awful lot of clothing now from people like Costa and Salt Life and Southern Marsh, brands that people recognize for their quality and because they're distinctive. We also have expanded to black powder and archery in the last year and a half, and we'll talk about that a little bit as the program goes. Those have been very good additions to our business, and we're excited about being able to move from this facility over to our new facility, which will have about 20,000 square feet in it. It's going to have a large display lobby, about 4 or 5 times bigger than the lobby we presently have, and we'll have some neat things in there, including taxidermied animals that give an appearance of being in the wild, and some, eventually we'll have murals in the place. And we'll have a 40-yard indoor archery range that'll be available pretty much all year long. No matter how bad the weather is, you'll be able to shoot. And that's a compliment to our newest addition to the business, which is the acquisition of Mr. James Ennis and his White Oak Archery operation in Opp, Alabama. Soon they'll be moving into our store with us. James will be coming over. He is by far the best in the local area, and local area would extend to Atlanta, Birmingham.
He's the top gun in archery.
He is the top guy in archery. And he'll be bringing over, to complement our archery lines, he'll be bringing over Matthews, Bowtech, and Hoyt. Of course, we already carry PSE and Bear, 2 of the better known names in the business. We're looking forward to that, and we're excited about the prospects of that happening in the next few weeks as we move into the new facility.
Well, I'll tell you, you just loaded me up for Bear. Just kidding. But this guy, John, what's his name?
James Ennis.
James, okay. Another J, by the way, I want to know. There's something with Mr. Tisdale and the names that start with J. But anyway, next thing you know, you'll have Junior over there. Never know. But anyhow, I'm going to be in so much trouble by the end of this show, I can tell. Sporting Lifestyles is moving from the smaller facility into the 20,000 square foot. We went in there the other day and took some snapshots that we're going to be sharing with the folks here later on this week. But there's a wall that, I don't know, how long is that wall? The wall facing the old store that's there. How long is that thing? The reason I'm asking is from the back side, where it's back here, to where almost all the way to the front when I saw it, is nothing but lures, worms, and fishing.
Oh yeah, the freshwater wall, that's what we call it.
Is that the freshwater wall?
is mostly that, and then we'll have, on what I would consider to be the far east end of that wall, we'll have our canoes and our kayaks, which is something we failed to mention earlier. We've had great success selling canoes and kayaks and accessories this past year. Probably sold 40 of them into the local market.
Wow.
It's a growing recreational segment for us that we kind of stumbled into a year ago, and we've had very good success with people that do that particular type of sport are a joy to work with. They really like going out and quietly working in nature and enjoying what's on the riverbank.
Canoeing's a lot of fun.
It is, and
Teresa,
kayak's even more fun.
Well, I don't know if you got one big enough for me, but
I don't know either. We didn't have anything that looked like you could land a plane on it. But
thanks, John. Well, I'll get you before the show's over. I'll get you.
Well, you sure you will.
But anyway, the canoes. Teresa and I used to go canoeing all the time, and there's so much available places to go in this area. I mean, driving distance, not even an hour. You know, we're talking a half hour. We're talking 20 minutes from the store to go down the Kaneka River.
Well,
okay,
you know, some of the really, if you want to expand that to 2 hours, and I'm fairly familiar with canoeing in this area, but if you want to expand that to 2 hours, you've got just south of Montgomery, you've got some of the Coosa that they're actually, when that's controlled, there's white water there. Locally, we have the Sapulga and the Patslaga, which are wonderful little water courses. And there's some interesting things on the sides of both of those rivers. To the south, we have Blackwater and Yellow River, and there's actually a guy down in Wing, Alabama, that does guided tours on on the Yellow River, and he'll carry you turkey hunting too. You've got Blackwater further down there, and then to the east and south, we have Ponce de Leon, and there's those springs there, and then to Mariana, you have the Chipola River, which is the largest inland aquifer in the United States. It generates an extremely clear water that can carry you, 50 miles before you start really running into Tannic. The waters are limestone. The bottoms are limestone. The waters are as clear as a glass of water. It's a wonderful area to canoe. I've done almost all of those.
I've done Blackwater, and I've done the part of the Kaneka River and Pea River. And you know, when you get, now I haven't done it in a kayak. I've done it in a canoe, and it's a lot of fun because it's quiet, and you get to hear nature. You get to see nature, and because you're not scaring them off when you're coming through.
It's true, and it's gotten to be such a, kayaking has gotten to be such a monster sport that even in places like Chicago, there are tours that are done at night. Well, they'll take in a kayak and they'll carry you along the edge of the river, the edge of the lake there, and point out things within the city.
Wow.
And, you know, just so you can familiarize with the city's skyline. And it's real quiet. It's a time and a place in Chicago that people don't normally.
But that's more than 2 hours away.
No, but I mean, it's that kind of thing that's available. You're right. I like to consider Chicago as Andalusia's northern suburb.
Oh, okay. Well, I ain't going there, but let's talk about some of the new stuff you're bringing in. You already got some of the kayaks. You've already got the bows. You've got the black powder. You've got some stuff here we do want to talk about too before we get too far. But you've got the professional coming in for the bow and arrows, and you're going to have the indoor archery range, which is totally new here. And you've got your FFL license now, and you're going to be selling guns, from my understanding.
That's correct. As we move into the newer building, we'll be selling guns. We'll move gradually into that business because it's extremely.
That's a large investment.
It's an extremely large investment to make all at once. But our plans with the business is to eventually carry what we consider to be higher quality weapons. We'll carry guns for the average shooter. We've got to. That's the big part of the budget. That's where we've tried to build all of our businesses around that average shooter. And then we'll carry guns and bows and things like that for the person that wants a little bit more. And then we'll carry the top end product. We're presently we've submitted information to Benelli and Fausti and Franchi and Uberti, which are all famous names in the firearms business. Ruger, Smith & Wesson, and Weatherby. So we plan on having a lineup of product that can fit anybody's budget.
Right.
And hopefully we'll be able to fit most anybody's needs, except for somebody that wants a machine gun. We're not going to We're not
I
gonna
hope
do
not.
those.
Boy, the way things are going nowadays, you don't want to do that. But
We do, however, I need to mention this, carry a large selection of ammunition.
well, I want to go there, and that's where I want to head with you right
Okay.
now. Okay, and well, we need to take a quick break, don't we? Yeah, yeah. We'll take a quick break. Come on back. But ammunition, that's like what do they call it? When a word's hot or something, you know, a key word around now. When people want to go buy ammunition, it's getting tougher and tougher to find. But at Sporting Lifestyles, you guys don't play that game. You get the stuff in that's available, and you don't
What's
play the game
available.
with it, right? And businesses, some of the big box stores play games, and we'll talk about that later on. But I know some of the things on that, the statistics. But again, 20,000 square feet, beautiful location. This place is beautiful. Parking's not going to be a problem. There's plenty of parking out there. What type of hours are you going to be running?
Well, we'll eventually run from 9 o'clock until 8 at night, 5 days a week, maybe 6, and probably have a partial Sunday opening. A lot of that's not, I'm not crazy about the Sunday opening. I like to go to church or to sleep on Sunday, but there are an awful lot of customers that we have that's their only day.
Right.
They have to do not so much to shop as it is to use the bow range, and we'd like to offer that. The facility is actually designed so that we can close the store
And still
and
keep.
continue to use the bow range as a recreational facility. We think that'll be something that'll bring an awful lot of
Well, this is Cub Scouts, Boy Scouts, high
this-
school, all of that.
well, we think that this is unusual enough with what we're going to be doing there that it's going to be far a greater draw than Cub Scouts, Boy Scouts. We have
Right.
people from South Okaloosa County and Escambia County and Conecuh County and Pike County that come in regularly checking to see what they can do with the range now.
The Fort vision that people in this community have, just not only on the Andalusia side and Covington County with the leaders here that we have, but Mr. Tisdale has a foresight to see that a business like this is going to be very successful in this community because of the draw from around coming in. And I've talked to him, you know, about things, and you know, the tax revenue alone that's going to be coming in to help support this community as well will be huge coming out of there. We're estimating that, but you know, this is a huge draw. This is something that you got to go to Destin, okay, Dothan, and Montgomery, and Mobile to find a place that's even close to this.
Well, you know, there's a nice facility that someone has in the Daphne area, and there's a nice one that someone has in Prattville, and in these are national big box operators, and in Destin. Quite honestly, when we're through with this, it's going to be on par with those facilities.
But reachable by people.
But it's going to be it's not only going to be on par with those facilities in terms of space, it's going to be, the interior design is going to be on par with them. But the big hitter for us is going to be the inventory. We've got a huge amount of saltwater inventory that we've never been able to display because we just didn't have the room.
Right.
We're gonna have an awful lot of stuff in there that people have never seen. It'll be very attractive. We have a long-term plan to design the inside so that it can be extremely interactive with children. We're using some information from some people that work in South Africa that developed this kind of theme in Europe that we want to make it interactive for children. And that's going to take us a little while because it's so unusual. But our plan is to draw from 6 counties. That should create more than enough revenue if we can get a good sign out front.
Right.
That will generate
Word of
sales
mouth
for
is going to
us.
be huge on this because we're in hunting season right now.
Right.
And right at the beginning of hunting season, we're at black powder right now. We're
Archery. Black
archery.
powder will be a couple of weeks.
A couple of weeks will be black powder. And when we come back, we're going to talk about black powder, archery. We've pretty well covered right now as far as that indoor facility is going to be killer. I mean, to me, that's going to give me an opportunity to learn something that I've always wanted to learn how to use. And that's a compound bow, which is what this is here that you have sitting on the table. And there's a science behind all that. You got to learn how to do that. It's not something you just pick up and, you know, you're Tonto from, you know, the Lone Ranger and go shoot an arrow and mark your target, or Robin Hood and splitting arrows down the middle. There's a science to this. And the gentleman that you have, James, coming in there to do all this, has been doing this in the community for a number of years. And if anybody's in archery in this community, they know him. And they've been over to White Oak and they've seen that. Now that's all being incorporated under your one roof, which is y'all's place over here.
And I'd like to add too that we have a fellow named Reggie Hartz. I don't want to overlook Reggie because Reggie's worked with us from the beginning. He's a local guy. He's from over in the Red Level area. He has his own little range over there that's a 3D range that people can go and shoot on. Reggie's been tremendously instrumental in helping us as we've launched our own line.
So he's in archery.
And he's going to be with our archery department as well. And he'll be participating in the trips that we make to the ARA shows, the ATA shows. He's very patient. He's a great instructor.
I need that.
He works well with children of all ages, and I've seen him take people literally in 15 minutes from someone who'd never shot a bow to someone that could shoot a target the size of my fist at 20 yards.
Wow.
He's a phenomenal instructor. He's also capable of repairing and servicing most any bow that comes into the place. We expect for James and for Reggie to work together to make this into a really premier archery center, something that has a reputation and a reach that's far greater than the 6 counties that we normally would consider dealing with.
You guys are right on time and with this, because it's hunting season, getting ready. Hopefully in the next couple of weeks we'll have a grand opening coming up over there. Well, not a grand opening, but the opening.
We'll have a soft opening. I anticipate us trying to debug and soft open before Christmas, and sometime after Christmas having the grand opening when we'll bring in the celebrities and those kind of things.
Oh, so you're going to invite me?
Sure, absolutely. There's
John,
not another one like you, Eddie.
You'd stop now. John, next thing, John Tisdale, not John Jay, has a huge collection of taxidermist animals that's going in this place. A collection I don't think second to none that I've ever seen in my life. He even went to Africa to get some here last year, or this year it was. And,
Last November.
Last November. It was a year ago. And he went out there, and him and a couple friends, and they've got some stuff they're bringing in, and then John has bought a lot of stuff, excuse me, to bring it into this location for people to see animals that you'll never even, consider seeing in Andalusia, Alabama, much, anywhere else.
Well, in the daylight anyway.
I'm getting ready to cough and spell. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to talk more about, what my point was with the taxidermist is when I kick the bucket, I'm sure John will have me taxidermed stuck in the corner somewhere over there and say, that's the guy, okay? He was the monster in Covington County.
Well, just to see, we want you to decide if you're a pointer or a setter.
We're going to take a quick break. John T., we're going to talk after no, just kidding. Right after these messages. Thanks for tuning in. Remember, keep it real, keep God in it, because without him, ain't nothing of this matters anyway. Amen. God bless you. We'll be right back with more. Oh, hey, welcome back to WKNI TV 25. Good news. I'm sitting here holding, this is nice. This is not. This is not the black powder gun that I'm used to when I was growing up.
Right.
Mine was made out of wood, and you had a long barrel on it, and you had to put the flint up here, and you had to pull back the hammer, and you called them flintlocks back then. This is a modern black powder gun.
Right. Eddie, when you and I were with Davey at the Alamo,
That's where I was headed.
It was much more difficult than it is now. The old powders that they used were slow to excite or to ignite, but the scientific term is excite.
It's okay.
And so they had to have long barrels on them. That's consequently the reason that they all.
And the gases would expand as it shot out the barrel.
They've overcome an awful lot of that with science. The other thing was that a black powder weapon was just a tremendous thing to have to clean. They were called smoke poles for a reason.
Right. Because when you see them, they go.
You're right. And if you had to clean it, you had to, quite honestly, just take soap and water and clean the barrel out through the little bitty vent hole on the back that your nipple was at. These are so much easier nowadays. These built like a shotgun. You take your breech plug out.
No kidding.
And
now that I never would have thought
and you
that.
can clean it just 1, 2, 3. You can actually buy a swab that you can run down there, clean it. When you get ready to go back hunting with it, you'll take your plate here and you'll put it back in.
Get that back up there so we can hear you.
This is scary for me. All right, you'll put the plug back in. Then you'll close it. Put your charges in, just like you would with any other black powder. Make sure that you're sealed shut and that everything's in there. We're now using a thing called a sabot or a sabot. Finally, the last thing you do would be to put your number 209 primer, which is the same as I use on a modern shotgun. Take this, ready, aim. We have people that put scopes on them now. Black powder is capable of killing an animal at 300 yards.
No way.
People forget that black powder is such a powerful propellant that's the powder that they used on the battleships in World War II and World War I that could throw something the size of a Volkswagen 26 miles. So black powder is a very...
Volkswagen's been the key word today. Have you noticed that?
It's been a very powerful propellant.
Is that a rifle barrel?
This is a rifle barrel, and it will generate very similar characteristics with the ammunition that you would with a regular, say, a 308 or something.
Is it a round ball?
We can shoot a round ball on this, but this is what they call a faster twist in this barrel. It's designed to shoot a conical type bullet, so it develops speeds that are much more similar to a modern ballistic tip. The ammunition holds up further. The difference is that when you shoot one of these 50 calibers, you're delivering about twice as much lead down the field as you do when you're shooting a 308. So
50 caliber?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I've got
Wow.
some. I've got a 64 at the house and a 54 and a 58.
What's the kick on one of these?
Not bad at all.
Really? I remember I had a black powder pistol, and I saw some in your store.
Right.
And those are awesome. I mean, I used to sit there and load that thing. And
They're a lot of fun.
Yeah, I used to go down to the pond and shoot fish.
Well, I don't know if you were like I was. I was shooting anything I could.
That was, I didn't want to really say what I shot.
But we've got these. We've got some great prices on
I've
these
seen
right
that.
now.
They're very easy to get into.
Yeah, they're very, very economical to get into. This one normally is $269. I think I've got it on sale for $209.
209 and season starts in 2 weeks.
2 weeks, right? And it's not something that you have to spend a great deal of time changing, your style to. Another thing we've been extremely successful with is the bows, and I bring this in just as a quickie because this is a junior bow. As you can tell, it's small as my brain, and but it's very quick, and it's designed for a youth or a lady that's wanting to begin the sport of archery. You can hunt with this bow. It's totally field capable of developing enough speed that you can kill a deer with it. But it's designed to get someone in there comfortably. It sells for around $270. That includes the bow, the string, the sight, the whisker biscuit, and the quiver. All you have to buy then is a release and have to size some arrows for you. This represents kind of the bottom end of the line in terms of speed.
That's nice.
But it's really nice at $270. We have bows we have in stock, the fastest production bow that's out there from PSE. The Omen, it's capable of 366 feet per second. We sold one just Saturday to a gentleman that seems to be very, very well pleased with it. They're a good deal more than this. It depends on the level that you want to shoot at. But we've got bows, in the $270, $390, $490, $590. It's just plateaued.
Right.
Kind of as skilled as you are and as much as you want to develop, we've got a system for you. And many of our customers, especially with Christmas coming, have chosen to lay away bows.
I was going to ask you that.
For that, it's a very nominal fee to lay it away. You have 90 days to pay it off. We don't charge any interest. There is a small penalty if you choose not to finish the layaway, but if you bought a $700 bow, it'd take less than $70.
Is that all that's available for layaway, or can you lay away?
No, guns, bows, anything, pretty much anything over $100.
Okay.
Clothing. We had, this past year, we had a lot of people buy school clothing. And
you got some nice clothing up there.
Targets, any number of things like that. One of the things I really wanted to talk about
Let's get her on
today, it's real important. It's new. We have an awful lot of people that come in our store that are asking about scent lock suits. Now, I'll be honest with you, when I was a kid, you were a kid, I don't know how in the world that we ever killed anything. All we had was a set of blue jeans, maybe a jacket you got from your dad. If you were lucky, you had one from World War II that was green. And we went out and we probably smelled like, whatever we had for lunch that day or for supper the night before, and just got lucky and killed animals. They've come a long way with that. One of the recent developments they've come with is the scent lock system. The scent lock system allows you to put on what's essentially a nuclear biological suit, very like what the military would issue, that has carbon filters in the clothes that keeps the animals from smelling it.
Right.
Those things are expensive. They need to be cared for in certain ways. And yeah, we can get those for you. In fact, we have some clothing in the line that disguises scents.
Go ahead.
But this product here, it's been out a couple of years. It's called the Ozonics product. And what this does is creates ozone around you while you're in your tree stand or your shooting house. You take this and you mount it behind you so that the
Okay, there's
product,
holes in the bottom
right,
there.
so that the product moves out away from you.
Hold up a little higher.
Yeah.
Okay, a little higher.
Okay, now you're going to hit me in the stomach.
I was getting ready to, but I won't do it.
You mount it higher so that it blows the ozone over you. Now, this is so effective in covering body odors that the deer virtually never hear you, sees you, smells you. And that's the worst thing. It is so effective in disguising odors, period, that many times when you go into a taxidermy shop, and I don't know how many of them you've been into, but they're not the most pleasant place in the world. That's not perfume, and they're curing back in the back.
Right.
They'll take these things and put them up in the corner, and it neutralizes the smell of the decomposing flesh that they're working on. So it's an extremely effective thing. You don't have to wash it. You just make sure your batteries are charged. It's about the same price as a good scent lock suit. Very durable. You won't outgrow it like you might clothing.
Right, and you won't tear it, and you won't.
Well, yeah, it's a very durable product. Right. This is the third generation of it. We're real proud of it. Glad that we have it. Our pricing on those things is just as good as it would be if you went to one of the major retailers.
Okay.
Another thing we carry is game cameras.
I love those.
Covert. This is a very nice one here. excuse me, it's probably the best camera that we carry in the store. This camera has a huge, has a 12 megapixel resolution, so it's extremely sharp image. When it flashes, it does it with an infrared flash, not a regular.
It doesn't scare everything away.
Right, so it doesn't scare anything away. And the nice thing about this one is with the right software, when an animal walks in front of this and it takes its picture, it can send it either to your PC or to your phone.
Wow.
Now, we've gotten where we sell as many of these things for home protection as we do.
I was going to ask you about that.
As we do for things in the woods. This solves a home protection problem for a lot of people.
I've seen that on different news things where people got the pictures, and it was a hunting camera, or what
That's
they call
exactly
field
right.
camera. I want to go back to this real quick.
Yes, sir.
All right, this right here. We need to get one to the mayor of Beef O'Brady's.
What's wrong with Micah?
Micah needs one of these. We need to carry this around him all the time.
Well,
Okay.
for a small nominal fee, Micah could carry one of these with him.
We love Micah.
And,
I thought about that. I remember he was out there hunting back behind the house over there last year.
Yeah.
All right. Micah, that 12-point deer's still there, buddy.
He loves to hunt.
Yeah, but he can't hunt. He didn't bring no meat home.
Well, even the best, I watch.
That deer comes over and eats at my fence every night.
I watch Mickey Mantle strike out a lot of times too.
Anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, just a couple other things, and then we'll be gone from here. One of the things that we do carry is a wide variety. This is just a small example. This is
What is it?
bar soap. It's designed to. It has.
Micah?
It's designed to eliminate your odor, your underarm odor, your whatever arm odor you've got. It's odorless. It has silver in it, and silver is what eliminates the smell to most people.
Wow.
We have the shampoos, we have the deodorants, we have the body and face wash like this. We have the detergents in stock. We have the clothing wash in stock, several different brands, and then we have different brands of scent colors that you can put over you to disguise what we smell like.
Well, you talk about silver. I think that's what Micah does. Is he carries a bunch of silver coins.
They must jingle a lot.
That's why you don't shoot anything.
Another thing we carry, and we sold a lot of these last year.
What is that?
Is
That's
a backseat gun sling.
That's
You take
cool.
this and hang it over the back seat of your car or your truck, and it's got compartments for 2 or 3 guns, and then your ammunition, that kind of stuff.
Are those legal to have when you're going hunting and stuff like that?
As long as you don't have the ammunition, now it's going to vary state to state.
Right, but say Alabama, this is where we're at.
As long as you don't have the ammunition in the gun, and the ammunition's in a separate place, you can carry it like that. You start carrying that with a shell in your shotgun or your rifle or something like that, you're dangerous to yourself and everybody else, and you ought to have your gun taken away.
But those are safe, and and you take them out at the end of hunting season and stuff.
Yeah, you just hang it up there. It's real handy. And then the last thing, just so that you won't think we're a complete bunch of male chauvinist pigs.
You're not, honestly.
Is that we carry, and then I'm going to give a piece of advice for home defense. We carry pepper gel and mace in stock for our customers, and we sell a lot of this to people, especially folks whose daughters are going off to college,
Right.
And those kind of things. It's nice to have in their purse. We have different types deployed different ways, and
It's great for personal protection.
Right,
And,
it is. It's a close, and unfortunately, the bad thing about mace is by the time you're using mace, you're already in close contact with
Right.
whatever.
You're within
whoever
the 6-foot limit.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's a little bit of a problem.
That's why the gel, and I'm just going with the gel, to me is better than the mist or the spray.
I agree.
Because the gel is more on contact when it hits, and it doesn't leave.
Right.
You know, whereas if you spray somebody, you got the gases and everything on.
Well, you know, and the biggest thing that most all of us have to be concerned about when we got mace or a pistol or a rifle or a shotgun or whatever, in those circumstances is that whoever our assailant is knows what they're going to do. We don't.
Right.
I'd be shaking so much most of the time that I'd probably shoot myself with the mace. But I'm not serious about that. But there's one thing that I'd like to leave
Sure.
as a home defense tip. And you're going to laugh at me when I tell you this, but when we taught the NRA pistol course and the home defense course out in Arizona when I worked with Cabela's, we learned something. And I don't have it with me, and I should have brought it with me. One of the best things that you can have, especially if you're I'm a chauvinist, but
Can I guess?
What?
A whistle.
No.
Oh.
A whistle's nice, but the way houses are spaced and insulated now, whistles.
Okay.
Not if you want defense in your own home, and you don't want to have a gun, you don't want to have a pistol or a rifle or something like that. There's something, we carry it, you can buy it at the grocery store. It's called wasp spray, wasp and hornet spray. It has about a 20-foot range. You can shoot that into an assailant's eyes. If you're laying in your bed, you can shoot that into an assailant's eyes, and if you hit them in the eye, that stuff is irritating enough, it has enough petroleum distillates in it, that you will have time to make a phone call or escape or whatever in most cases.
Right.
And that's, you know, we recommend an awful lot of that to people that feel unsafe and want to have something that's not lethal in the way that it's used. And that's, you know.
I've heard somebody say that they, in fact, I believe it was Miss Irene told me one day we were talking, and she said that she's got a thing of wasp spray in her car keys.
Right.
Right next to, you know, right there. And if somebody walks in the door, bat, then she's.
That's right. That's exactly right. It's extremely effective, non-lethal defense.
Right. And it's non-lethal, which is important too, because there's other factors involved when you take into consideration.
I'd say it's non-lethal
if you're allergic to it, you're gonna.
Yeah, or if a 6-foot wasp walks into the house.
Well, if you're a wasp, you're dead.
Yeah.
So it's over. So it's a multifunctional.
Yeah.
John, J.
J-A-Y.
It's been fun. It's been real, and we're excited. I know I want to get a deadline from you and say the store's going to open November, whatever, but we haven't got a date.
We don't have
yet.
a firm date on that. We've still got to get approvals from city and county, their life safety issues and that kind of stuff. In terms
It looks beautiful in there.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, the floor, the work that went into that floor is phenomenal, and the ceiling. I remember that place before they even touched it the first time, and just so much work. There's beautiful woodwork in there.
Yeah.
John went and got cedar.
It's all locally hewn wood.
Yeah.
It's all planed, it all came from Covington County. It's all been planed on a Covington County, cut and planed on a Covington County mill.
It was all handled in the mill here.
Correctly, correct.
So, y'all, I've been in there. I'm excited. I want it to open tomorrow.
So do I.
I bet you do. But the big boss is behind it, John Tisdale. And I'll tell you, what's cool about that is he's been focused on this for a number of months now. And folks don't realize how hard it is to set up a store, 20,000 square feet.
It's a big enterprise.
From scratch.
It's a big exercise by the time you figure out, what merchandise you're going to put in there, how much you're going to put, where you're going to arrange it. Is it going to be enough? Is it going to be too much? I mean, there's a great deal of speculation in what you do. Where we're going to get the right people, how can we train them, what kind of systems are we going to use to make things function smoothly. Those are all important things.
Do you know what I like about it? You're going to bring people in from all over the area, okay? I'm talking way out from everywhere. And that's going to generate them stopping and eating lunch, okay, while they're here, or dinner. They're going to stop and buy gas. They're going to stop and buy stuff from your store. That's all generating revenue in our community.
And we want it, we want our presence to be kind of organic. We don't want, we want it to reflect Covington County, or a lot of the culture of Covington County, and yet still seem to be something bigger than that because of the use of taxidermy and those kind of things. I mean, we're going to have musk ox.
What is that?
That's a big old hairy ox that lives up above the.
It's in a crate when I saw it, and
right.
it's big.
It is. They live typically above the Arctic Circle. That's why they're so hairy.
Kind of like John Tisdale.
There's never a barber in the herd.
I'm in trouble.
He's
got.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely. They are a very social animal in that whenever they're attacked, those animals circle with the males to the outside and the females and the calves to the inside.
Almost civilized in a sense.
Kind of scary.
Yeah.
I've been around people that didn't do that well when they fought.
And then they break out into the kung fu stance, right?
Run.
But anyway, they're not as gray as John, though.
No.
Okay, they got beautiful brown hair. He gonna kick me, I know he is. But anyway, John Tisdale, we thank you for bringing a wonderful opportunity to our community and elsewhere throughout South Alabama, North Florida Panhandle. I would even go as far as mid-Alabama, and all the way to Mississippi and all the way to Georgia. There'll be people coming here for this store.
We hope so.
And I know so. I mean, the stuff that I know that we haven't even talked about yet, it's going to be phenomenal. And we have that opportunity. It's the biggest retail outlet. Okay, you ready for this? I've done my history, or my study, demographics, whatever you want to call it. All right. Between here and a 6-county area.
It is, right.
Okay, square foot wise. And it'll have the most merchandise for this particular sporting goods than any place around other than the cities that we mentioned earlier. And it's not in clothing, you're going to have racks and racks of clothing.
Correct.
So, it's all going to be there. And we need it open, John. Christmas is coming. Teresa needs to buy me that shirt that I've been asking you to give me.
Right.
You won't do it. What time are you open? And are you open now at the current store?
We open from 9 until 6.
And you
Monday
are?
through Friday. We'll be a little late opening today because
I was just looking at that.
I've got to leave
talk
here
a lot.
and go. I do.
Yeah.
And 9 until 6 Monday through Friday, and 9 until 4 on Saturday at the present time.
All right. Well, John, thanks for coming in. We appreciate you. Let's see. Your son works there?
My son Daniel, John Tisdale III, works there.
John Tisdale the third.
And we'll have other people that come in and help us as well.
Well, you're going to have more employees, but I talked to John about advertising for people to come out. They have already gotten hundreds of applications. You're welcome to come by, but there's already hundreds of applications in. Y'all are going to be going through those, and you have been, to bring in new employees.
We want to get the best qualified.
Right. If you got sporting goods background or some of the stuff that we've talked about, get up with John Jay or John Tisdale or Daniel or John Tisdale III and get up with them and see what can happen. John, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank y'all for the time today. Thank you for inviting us.
You guys better be coming
program.
on. I want to get the professionals that you got coming in. I want them to come in here weekly and teach us about bows. I'm going to go to that range, okay? And they're going to teach me how to shoot a bow on television. It ought to be good. And gun safety, all this stuff that comes in.
Right.
You guys are going to be a source here in the community.
Well, we hope to be. We sure do.
Thanks again. Folks,
thanks a lot.
John Jay, Sporting Lifestyles, 20,000 square foot store getting ready to open up very soon. John T., please, quickly, and get it open so we can get out there and enjoy ourselves. I just love wandering through those places. But beautiful place coming up. If you just saw what I seen, you'd be going, get it open, John. But thanks a lot. We appreciate y'all coming on. Remember, keep it real. Keep God in it.
Amen.
Eddie Lewis reporting with John Jay. on Good News, Covington County. We got a big store coming.